Wilding is when we would walk around with a group of people, anywhere from 10, 15, 20, 25. We have literally gotten into the hundreds of people wilding. You walk down the street and you just pick a victim. And you go over there with about 20, 30 guys and you brutalize them. You pummel them as close to death as you possibly can. I'm not going to say that within the course of this whole wilding phenomenon, whatever you want to call it, that somebody somewhere didn't get unalived. There had to have been several unalivings when there were just random mob beatings going on all over town. Okay, so when I was 8 years old, my mom sent me down south to live with my pops, like Trey from Boys in the Hood. Only difference between me and Trey is by the time I was 14, I ran away and went back to New York. Now when I get back to New York at the age of 14, I'd be introduced to a new word. There was a new slang word on the streets. It was brand new at the time. And this word described a certain action. It wouldn't take long before this word would be the headline on every newspaper and every newscast. And wildin'. Set it off by Big Daddy Kane. It was a big record at the time. And that's how you did it. One guy would be picked out to set it off. We hadn't seen you put in no work yet. Next guy walks down the street, you gotta set it off. The Wilding era will produce gangs like the Lowlives and the Decepticons. The Decepticons name did ring bells all the way up in the Bronx. I'm not going to say we were not concerned about those guys, because we were. Fortunately, I never ever crossed paths with the Decepticons on a train, in my teens. But that is one of the reasons why we would go to school deep, because, the word was you may run into them. And there were times where I would actually carry a hammer, like not a GUN, but a actual nail hammer to school. I would ride the train with a hammer because everyone had me scared, telling me stories about how some guy from the Decepticons, when they get on a train and they do their Decepticons transform thing and start robbing the whole train, one of the guys pulls out a hammer and start clocking people in the head with a hammer. So that just that's the part that stuck out to me. Like, there's a guy clocking people in the head with a hammer. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get me a hammer. If that guy comes over, I'm gonna clock him first.
And when them Decep niggas was running around when I was in high school, I made the biggest mistake going there because I was all by myself. I ain't know nobody. I'm in class, I come to school, I'm fresh, got my Gap sweatsuits on, chain dangling, rims coming out. You know what I mean? I'm a Harlem nigga, got my shit up. Seeing broken niggas outside my window, pointing me out and all that, trying to get me to follow. I gave him the dip the first day. Next day, niggas came. I'm like, man, listen, I need to get out this school. That's not for me. I ain't got no niggas here. I ain't no chump, but I'm smart. The D-Ceps was running wild. Like, at that time, if you ain't have a crew of niggas with you, like the D-Ceps was coming for you.
My name is Seiko, like to watch, D-Cep, what's the flavor? Brownsville, New York. We originated this shit. You see it, look, it's DC, look. Make our clothes, diamonds and all, yeah, it's DC, you know what I mean? And that stands for Decepticons, you know what I mean? Like, when I got Decep there, it had to be like probably 87, 86. Excuse us. It had to be 87, 86. You know what I'm saying? I was like 14, 15. It's a rapper, which is our best friend, the leader of Trigger Cons. His name is Sean P. best known as Ruck from Helter Skelter.
Yeah, I know.
Boot Camp Clique. That was our leader. One day they was initiating guys, and
Sorry, I'm gonna give you my other.
this man here, Whip the Kiss, came and got me, and he asked me, yo, do you want to get down with a gang? With this decent shit, like, you know, initiation was you had to fight like 50 niggas. You know what I'm saying?
No fair ones.
No fair was nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have seen guys get jumped by like 50 guys, go to the hospital right afterwards. 2 weeks later, when they come out the hospital, they come right to the park and be like, yo, am I down?
Like, what am I going to school with these niggas for? I don't know none of these niggas. I ain't play ball in the park with none of these niggas. We ain't do nothing. Niggas don't know nothing about me, so they don't give a fuck about me. I'm out of here.
Fuck that. He asking what school? You should be asking what school didn't do it. Man, Martin Luther King, Sarah J, Dewey, New Utrecht. Now, at this time here, this is 88, 89. We were actually the deepest gang, New York City. We was like 1,000 strong. You got Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, Fort Greene, Harlem, Bronx. It was like ABG, man. Anybody, they could get it, man. Like, niggas, they was getting robbed for their book bags. Serious, man. Canal Street, that's where I was. Like, Canal Street, I was digging pockets.
This is River Park Towers. Although this place looks aesthetically pleasing on camera, do not be fooled. This is not by any means a luxury high-rise. This is the hood. This is the ghetto. It's home to Bronx drill rapper D-Thang. In my era, it was home to the former bad boy artist Black Rob. Like, whoa. We came up together in the same era in River Park Towers. If you're talking gang turf, today, River Park Towers would be considered YG's and Bloodhound Brim territory primarily. River Park Towers is where I would get introduced to every aspect of street life. You gotta remember, I came from South Carolina, greener than a goddamn dill pickle. I had a very strict pops. He was a martial arts instructor. He was big on discipline. I wasn't even allowed to talk on the phone to girls. I wasn't allowed to go outside, like just participate in sports and come home. Like, that's it. So when I got to the Bronx at the age of 14, I got introduced to selling crack. I got introduced to robbing. First things first though, it was wilding. My first charge was for wilding. I was charged with assault and robbery. I was with a couple of guys from out of River Park Towers, a guy by the name of Crazy Sean and another guy named Brian. Brian ran and got away. And Crazy Sean was a little older than me, so he was sent to Rikers Island, and I had to go to Spofford. What the gang members and gang bangers would have been doing when, the other guys were being kingpins. Everybody couldn't be Richie Porter and Fritz. It was just, Billy Guy. It wasn't feasible, so, yeah. That's what we were doing, wilding. I'm thankful that the wilding era came to an end. That was an ugly period for New York. Looking back at it as a mature-minded adult, there was nothing cool about that. I remember one night out wilding with about 20 guys. We almost got my next door neighbor. His name was Craig Torrance. This was in River Park Towers. He lived right next door to me. I lived in 11J, he lived in 11K. He had a sister named Giovanna, who was my age, and another sister named Latoya, who was my kid's sister's age. So I'd say I knew his sisters a lot better than him because he was a few years older than me. When I was 14, Craig probably was about 18, 19. So we're walking down Burnside one night, and he's coming from the 4 train, going back towards River Park Towers, and somebody in my group sees him and was like, him right there. So we go to run across the street, and we get like 3/4 of the way to him, and I notice him. I'm like, stop, that's my neighbor. And like, it really messed me up. that really messed me up. Like, fortunately, I was able to stop the mob from doing anything to him. I can say Craig wasn't no sucker because he wasn't running. He wasn't backing down. He got his back up against the wall and put his hands up and was like, what's up? Let's go. Like, against a whole like 30 guys. So like, yeah, he didn't go out like no broad, but I was able to stop it, thankfully, man. But that situation combined with the Central Park situation, also my first arrest. The combination of those three is what put it into my own personal wilding career, you know. But like I said, I'm glad that thing phased out. But it's an era that a lot of people don't talk about. Whenever you walked out the door, you had to worry about a pack of wolves jumping on your back wherever you went in the city. It was dangerous.